So, my search for the best internal filter. We look towards the aquaEL or aquaEL, whatever you want to say. This is the Unifilter 1000 UV. Okay, this comes from a company called aquaEL. They supplied this to me. I paid for it, but they supplied it to me. Now this has got some interesting specs, so we're going to have a quick look at what's inside. On that note, this is supposed to be for fish tanks or aquariums between 200 or 250 to 350. The UV milliwatt power is 500. This is across the range of the Unifilters, whether you get the 5, the 750 or 1000. I think it's actually very good because it has biomedia, it has sponge and it has UV. Now I'm going to have a quick look inside the box and see what we come up with. I do believe this has some really interesting stuff in here, so let's have a look. So, things of note, this thing is huge. Let me show you. .31 or 12 inches ish, so that's big. Okay, it's also got two power supplies. One is USB, and that is for the UV. The other one's for the pump. Some details on the side of the pump will be 1000 at 5 watt according to this. So let me get this right. UV's 5 watt and the pump itself is 10. Okay, so that gives you an idea. In the box you get various parts. You've got the suckers, you've got a deflector. This apparently goes onto the front here if you want to use it without the UV. That's a bracket for the suckers, and this is a bracket that goes on the back of the tank to hang on. If you look here, actually tells you, so you can have an aeration system, which I don't normally use. I use water flow as the best aeration, I think. This does have biomedia, so I'm going to strip the actual unit down. We're going to have a quick look inside. Okay, it's a basic operation. Okay, the water's drawn in through these slits, goes up through the sponge, which is the proper way, comes out through here, goes into this portion, which has got the biological filter, sterilised by the unit, straight back to the tank. We're going to get this working in a minute. Remember, always take it apart. These ceramic rings, I don't know why they have to have the hole in them. I think it's to give it a bit more surface area, but we'll have a look and see how that works and that operation. I am going to be using the UV, and I'm going to be using it in this tank here, even though I don't think it really needs a UV, but it is for testing purposes only. At the moment it came apart really easy, so I'm a little bit worried about that, and there seems to be some extra room in there. Well, we'll have a look at that as well. Some things I need to tell you about. First of all, the sponges that are in here, okay, you need to put onto here first. Okay, now those sponges, you can take this section out completely, you don't have to use that, and this will go straight onto that, making it smaller, so you don't have to use the biomedia. I mean, for the video I'm going to use the biomedia, obviously, and the brackets I'm going to sort out later. It's very simple. It's a kind of system there. I don't know if you can see that. That's quite interesting. It looks quite sleek. It's quite heavy, so the suckers have got to be quite good. There are 4 and they are quite large. Directional nozzle, which is quite good, but we're going to see the operation in the tank in a moment. Okay, I'll show you the flow, and that's how it sits in the tank, which is okay. Now let me turn this on so you can get a better idea. Now that's your flow. I turn the UV on, and to be honest it's quite dull and it's UV, but that's quite potent. I mean, you can go all the way to one side or the other, and if I put it down, it's very silent as well. Cables are nice and long. I'll put the UV on actually so you can see it. don't know if you can see that warm glow. Now I've had to take the biological section out, which is here, because it made it so big it just wouldn't fit in my sink. And also something else I noticed, the bracket only goes on at the bottom, so it forces the filter over slightly. But it's very quiet. Bit of noise. Let me prime it again. Yeah, a little bit of motor hum, nothing else, but a formidable. Well, that's got a nice flow to it. It has to be completely underwater. As you can hear it, a little bit up. Only when it's completely underwater. So you need a bigger tank. I mean, the side would need to be more than 32 centimeters or over a foot, and that's not including the substrate as well. But all in all, we're going to test this out. As you know, I've got two on go at the moment, which I'll show you. But I like this. It was relatively cheap for what it was with a UV. And they do two others in this range, 500, 750 and 1,000. So I would give them a look. Also check out aquaEL. They're the ones that gave the best price on this actually, so hands up to them. So let's have a look. Okay, so the pros of this, price, it's cheaper than a lot of the other biomechanical filters I know of, plus it's got a UV. That's really it on the pros. I mean, you know, when you have filters like this, they're all similar, okay? So you don't really need to pay a lot, okay? The cons of this is the height. It's huge, but then you're encompassing a lot of sponge there, but not much biomedia. They could have done with 2 of those packets. You know, I'd rather throw a little bit away than all that. Also, as you can see, the bracket, see how it's slightly to one edge, so when you're sitting on the tank it's pointing down. Okay, that's probably a good thing, but it means you will have to have the filter slightly up to get surface agitation for gas exchange. UV, not sure. I'm not really keen on UVs anyway, to be fair. But all in all, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with the actual way it feels. Now we're going to test this like I do all the others. I'll show the others in the tank at the moment, so you can get an idea of what I'm testing. I've done a lot of the very expensive. My favourite is still, if price was no comparison, is still the Fluval U4 for tanks over 200 litres, okay, an internal. However, you know, they're probably nearly double the price of what this is, okay, so you've got to take that into consideration as well. Not everyone has the options I do. Having said that, you know, the Eheim pickup, which doesn't have any biomedia and quite a small amount of sponge, is half the price of the U4, but comparable to this. So you've got to think of that. So I'll show you in the other tank what I've got running at the moment, and I'll do a month's sort of comparison of them all. Impressed with that, aquaEL, so give them a look. I'll put the link in the description. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you find it interesting. If you do, subscribe and take care. Just a quick end. That's the Tetra 1000. Just messing with the surface a little bit. Had to put a screw in there though, because it sucked air like, oh, it was horrible. That's that one. It is picking up quite a lot. As you can see, it's moved a lot of the gravel around. And that's the Eheim pickup. That's the 200 version. Which, let me move this out of the way. Again. So they're all quite similar. But you can't really tell that water. I mean, there you go. The water's crystal clear. Absolutely crystal clear.